Follow the leader. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Hey Cousins, hosted by Peaches from Peace, Love, and Light. Believe in yourself and all that you are. Know that there is something inside you that is greater than any obstacle. If you or someone you know has talked about or contemplated suicide, please call 988 and get help today. Today's children are constantly following the latest trend, and with the growing popularity and accessibility to media via television and the internet, these trends have become increasingly more dangerous. Don't get me wrong, we all laugh in amusement when the trend is a cute dance or a silly prank. But what about the more sinister trends that promote violence and self-harm? It seems like as a society, we have begun to lower our standard for discretion and discernment. And that is a trend that is sure to end poorly if left unchecked. And we must ask ourselves if we are prepared for a future led by children under the influence of social media. When social media sites like MySpace, Facebook, and many others first debuted in the early 2000s, household internet access was nowhere near as accessible as it is today. In fact, I can still remember having to wait for my mom to get home from work in the late 1990s so I could finish my social studies projects. Topics like war, riots, and slavery were considered too graphic and violent, and my mother would have to override the search. Even then, she would still be right over my shoulder, making sure I was really completing homework. Nowadays, access to the internet has become almost completely unrestricted. Due to this lack of regulations and restrictions, children are exposed to inappropriate images on a daily basis. Almost simultaneously, television has become increasingly more graphic, vulgar, and violent. When you combine this negative exposure on TV and in the media with the profanity and violence in popular video games like Grand Theft Auto and Call of Duty, children, adolescents, and young adults are being exposed to an overabundance of toxic, unsustainable behavior. Despite all of our current advances in technology, it seems as though the standards and cultural values are regressing. It's as though we lose a key to the master principles of life with the passing of each elder. Some of you may have heard stories from your parents or grandparents, but believe it or not, once upon a time, our streets were filled with nothing but families and friends. During those days, neighbors knew each other by first and last names, and everyone held each other accountable for their actions. Now, almost in mockery of the dreams of the late Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., and all of the blood, sweat, and tears it took for the United States to become integrated, we have become even more segregated within our own neighborhoods and communities. Separation, division, and crude behavior is all to our own detriment. The social economical problems that are plaguing our neighborhoods, like drug addiction, crime, and poverty, are community-based issues that require a community-based approach to resolve. Despite our differences in opinion, we must agree that unless we make some drastic behavioral changes, there won't be a neighborhood left for future generations. We need to stop waiting on a hero and realize that we are the leaders and role models of today. So when you fight inside Walmart, you are setting a standard. When you shoot someone who cut you off in traffic, you are setting a standard. Every minute of each day, we have to start governing our behavior because whether you like it or not, when you are at work, at home, and when you go out in public, you are always modeling behavior and setting the standard for what behavior is and is not acceptable. Studies have proven that both children and adolescents thrive when they have structure and well-defined boundaries. In fact, according to Michigan State University, children who have well-defined boundaries and expectations develop better life skills than their counterparts. This means if we have any hope for the future, we must begin to reincorporate structure and discipline as a foundational practice. Hopefully by now you are wondering what type of structure or discipline will help motivate the next generation to take action and become the leaders that they were born to be. While yoga is most commonly used as a physical discipline, yoga can also sharpen and strengthen morals, ethics, and the mental and spiritual body. Additionally, yoga supports individual and communal growth and development by creating safe spaces and opportunities for family members and individuals in the community to bond while learning and developing a skill. Yoga is accessible to any fitness level and body type, making it easy to implement even in diverse populations. Spiritual practices like yoga, meditation, and mindfulness have already proven themselves to be effective through years of generational succession. We should honor the wisdom and ancient practices passed down to us from our forefathers by paying them forward to the leaders of today and tomorrow. Thank you for tuning into another episode of Hey Cousins, hosted by Peaches from Peace, Love, and Light. This show was sponsored by Sean Lee Jones and the Creative Healing Foundation. Make sure that you subscribe to this podcast to stay up to date with the latest and exclusive content. And if you would like to continue the conversation, leave your thoughts, questions, and concerns in the comment section.